and my wife. Welcome. My name is Talon Acosta, and I'm here with my beautiful wife, Vielka Acosta, and we are the tour guides for the October trip to Ireland, Scotland, and England. Pedro Obando and his wife, Deborah, they are the one doing the July trip. Both itineraries are almost identical. I can tell you the only difference, but everything else should be the same. So feel free to ask questions on about both trips. So first and foremost, why are we doing this trip? Well, in conversation with the owner of JW Trips, JW Trips is a company of brothers to help brothers visit Bethel in United States and Canada. And we were planning an international trip. And the conversation arrived as to how did the King James Version at some point in the past became the most distributed Bible in the world. And putting that answer together, this trip was born. We're going to show you the fruitage of our research, but we're also going to tell you that even though we're going to be showing you pictures and video, there's nothing like being there in person. This presentation is being recorded because this time did not work for everyone. Okay, so if we don't get to answer all of your questions now, don't worry. The office is open tomorrow, and the office number is
817-607-8019. We're gonna put it on the spreadsheet so that you can see it.
yes, and we're going to put it on the chat so that in case we don't answer all of your question, 817
607-8019.
And if you rather send an email, you can send an email to mail@jwtrips.com. Okay? All right, let's get started. Even though I put you on mute, you guys can unmute yourself if you want to ask a question. Okay, so the trip starts on October the 17th. Because there are at least 5 hours differences between New York and London, it would be nice if you friends starts traveling on the 16th, so that on the 17th we can start the trip. And this is to deal with the jet lag. Obviously, if you want to arrive before the 16th, that's also acceptable. Okay, just a little thing for those of you who have not traveled to Europe in the past. So where are we going? We're going to visit what today it's part of the dual world power of our time, England. If you know a little bit of history, England has been the protagonist of fascinating stories that have taken place in modern history. And I just remember something. There you go. And I'm going to start focus mode. That way, all you can see is my screen. Many of you may remember that England was actually a descendant of the Romans. The Romans conquered that region about the year 43 after the Common Era. So the founding cities, London, Edinburgh, Dublin, all those cities are from around that time. And you may recognize some of the figures that we have there on the screen. The Magna Carta, which is a document that has a great influence on what today we call the Constitution, and Queen Victoria, who actually broke the language barrier, allowing the people in Ireland to have their own language. But these areas are also known for whiskey, for Guinness. If you know history, you probably remember the Great Famine. And you probably have heard of a priest who was the first slave or the most famous slave of Ireland, St. Patrick, which I guess in the month of March, some people have talked about it. Anyway, our first stop on the trip is going to be in Dublin, Ireland. And like I mentioned before, the flight time from New York is about 6 hours and 30 minutes. You add to that there is a 5 hour difference. And if you fly in the evening, you're going to get there in the morning. As I stated before, Ireland is famous for many things, but I think one of them is their Guinness beer. And I think while we're there, you and I may have a pint if that is something that you do. But to have an overview of Ireland, Ireland was never a part of England. However, with all the fighting that were taking place between the Vikings and the Normans, the kings of England actually had a bitter bloodshed of oppression. And after 750 years, Ireland was ruled from England. However, in this past century, 1922, after a struggle for independence, the northern part of Ireland, which you're going to hear on this trip, it's under the control of the United Kingdom. But the southern part, where we're going to travel first, and you see Dublin right there, it's what we call the Independent Republic of Ireland. Stalin, why is this relevant? It is relevant because this is the first introduction of Catholic and Protestant religion, and you're going to see how all of this will make sense, hopefully, by the end of the tour. While we're visiting Ireland, we're gonna see how the Romans' influence was there in their coins, in the way they did business. But if you see the bottom, it says, "What was one of Ireland's greatest commodity?" And believe it or not, it was, oh, this came out in white. It was slavery. As sad as it is, one of Ireland's greatest commodities was human slave. Many of those working on the farms of the wealthy uh, came from Ireland. And something similar happened here in New York City. What is the connection? Who is the most famous slave from early Ireland? And this is where St. Patrick comes into the picture. This is how the religious influence started to penetrate the country. He was a slave for about 6 years until he escaped to France, where he became a priest. And he was a son of a Roman tax collector, captured by the British when he was 16, and then by pirates in around 415. The Roman Emperor Constantine the Great credited the form of Christianity to Ireland because of this. So you can imagine the great influence this is going to have in everything we're doing on this trip. And you're going to see how Christianity is going to play an important role over all these countries and eventually a great influence with the United States. If you've been to New York, you probably have seen the gigantic cathedral dedicated to St. Patrick because of this person. So, why come on this trip? Well, it helps you understand how Christianity and Bible access emerged from the Roman Empire. We all know that the United States was formed by people who were looking for religious freedom. And Ireland and Scotland will have a similar story as they become independent from Britannia, or what today we call England. Did the Roman Empire ever conquer Ireland? Oh, by the way, this recording is going to be on YouTube, so please subscribe and share this with others. Let me skip to the part where the answer is. The answer is no. It was a Roman, what would you call it, province, where they engage in many different business transaction. But the influence of the Romans can be actually perceived in the areas that we're going to be visiting. For example, we're going to be visiting the Chester uh, Beauty
Be
Beatty Library. And why is this library so special to us? For those of you who are Bible lovers, you will realize that the biggest treasure of this place is the large number of manuscript, all manuscript dating all the way back to the fourth century. And this will have an influence on the history of the Irish language, the history of the Bible, and how Queen Elizabeth the First actually will turn the tide. What do I mean? Well, her father, King Henry VIII, he passed an act in which English was the official language, and this will prohibit the use of the Irish language. So now the Irish have to use English in their education, and they have to use English for their religious and preaching activities. Obviously, this language was tied to a political loyalist, but that lasted very little because his daughter, Queen Elizabeth I, she promoted the use of the Irish language. She promoted it so much that she founded the Trinity College, which is one of the stops that we're going to see on the strip. And the purpose, and friends, this is the point, the purpose of this college was to produce minister to teach the Bible message in Irish. Yes, it wasn't a pure worship, but you can see how people were making the effort to actually make the Bible available to the common people. And people like William Tyndale was one of the uh, graduate from this school. He promoted translating the Hebrew scripture of the King James Version into Irish. Eventually, because of all the opposition, he will die in prison. But what's relevant is that in the final product that took him about 30 years to produce, he included Jehovah's name, and the Bible was completed about 10 years later. But why did it take until 1685 to publish the translation of the Bible? Well, while we get there, I just wanted to show you the Dumpling is famous for its striking Georgian doors. And as you can see on this picture, every store is going to have their colorful door. And I hope you guys like to take pictures because we're going to get that opportunity there. Before I answer the question, I just wanted to tell you that Jehovah's Witnesses, their first uh, what would you call it? The first visit was in 1891. Charles T. Russell visited Ireland as his first port of call to expand the preaching in Europe. Congregation were started in Dublin, where we're going to be at, and in Belfast. And there's a lot of trivia information that I can share with you guys later on. If you want to learn more about Ireland and Jehovah's Witnesses, please look at the yearbook of the year 1988, and you can read more about Ireland and Jehovah's Witnesses and why are we visiting this area. Anyway, if you live in the United States, you know that there is a large Irish population. It was in the year 1850 where 26% of New York residents were actually Irish. And some of the famous Irish people that you may know are John F. Kennedy or Henry Ford. They were not Irish 100%, but they were descendants from immigrants who sailed from Ireland, especially during the famine. Today, all over Ireland, broken down stone walls and ruined houses are a reminder of the Irish diaspora. During the trip, we're going to learn about modern Irish culture. We're going to dance. We're going to eat. We're going to learn about their dark sense of human and traditional values. And we're going to learn a little bit more about their history. There's an old man
sit next to me,
Very fast.
make love this tonic and gin. He says, Bill, I believe this is killing me as a smile.
And we're also going to dance. Don't worry, you don't have to do that.
Prepare
Yeah,
yourself.
you don't have to do that. But yeah, we're gonna eat Irish stew, soda bread, potato bread, the shepherd's pie, which is one of the most popular dishes that they have. But I think you see a pattern, don't you? Potato, potato,
Is king.
potato, potato. So if there's something about the Irish, it's all the potato. But friends, Ireland will eventually become independent, as you saw in 1922. But their effort to translate the Bible will have a great influence on other islands that were near to them. So right now we're on day 3.
We will take an internal flight from
Mm,
Dublin to Edinburgh.
mhm, Edinburgh, which is located in Scotland. And they, like Ireland, have their own history. Like Ireland, the answer is no. They were not part of the Roman Empire, but they were trading partners. There were areas where they would trade, but they never became a Roman territory. And the same thing applied to Scotland. Were the Celts only on Ireland, Scotland, and Britain? The answer is no. Celtic tribes populated most of Europe, and this is where the European um, culture and look comes from. And I think I can't remember right now which one of Noah's son actually went to Europe. One of the famous Scottish person is William Wallace. He was the first one who led the War of Independence from the British. You may have seen a movie by Mel Gibson called what do I call it? Braveheart. Well, maybe not because it's art. But you may have heard about it. I haven't seen it, but you may have heard about it. And this again shows the struggle between all these islands, but they all share a commonality. English was the common language, and their love for the Bible and the desire for making the Bible available in the language of the people, that's what they have in common. So Christianity retreated when pagan Anglo-Saxon advanced in the 5th century. Christianity was introduced to Lower Scotland near Adrian's Wall during the Roman occupation. And you probably remember Adrian built that wall. There's a famous book in Scotland. It's called the Book of Kells. Until to escape a Viking antic, they returned to uh, Scotland. And what's interesting about this is that no Bible existed before the 18th century. One reason it was that the Irish Bible was understandable. So the Irish and Scotland the Scottish, they were separate islands. They share a commonality. They share a Bible. In 1707, Scotland became part of the kingdoms of Great Britain, and English Bible history will be part of the Britain section. And now you're seeing how all of this connecting all the pieces. It's like we have a puzzle. What are we going to eat where we are in Scotland? We're definitely going to have some scotch if you are old enough to drink. um, Shortbread, clans, among other things. If you have a questions, if you have a question about anything I'm saying, feel free to raise your hand, and that way we can answer it. So after all of this, where are we? We are now at the Kingdom of Great Britain. In 1707, the Parliament of both nations, Scotland and England, agreed to the Act of Union, where they will merge the Parliament and establish the Kingdom of the Great Britain. England was concerned that Scotland may side with France in the war of Spanish succession, so England agreed to give Scotland money to pay off his debt. And if you look at 1707, you will notice that 70 years later, the United States will be asking for their freedom from the British. As you can see, Great Britain was divided, trying to protect both the Scottish and also the new land. Alexa, stop. So, what was Britannia before Rome? Well, there was no single political power or a cultural identity. Britannia was filled with independent tribal groups. Julius Caesar undertook the area with two military expeditions, and that's how that area became part of the Roman Empire. London under Rome, Britannia was conquered, and now we're going to see how the Anglo-American or the seventh world power will actually be born. And what's going to join them together are not only the roads, but also religion. Back then, there was a common language, which was Greek. Greek will be the language that will be used for the Gospels, or what we call today the Christian scriptures. Paul traveled western, and he used the Roman road system, where he organized his second and third missionary trip. And by doing this, he will spread the influence of Christianity, merging different tribes that were different in its own sense to be part of one common people. If you're just joining us, because I see that the number continue to go up, this video, this recording will be available on YouTube after the tour is finished. And I think this is still Edinburgh, National Museum of Scotland.
And just so this is just a fun fact. The Dolly, the sheep, that was the first being cloned by humans. First sheep cloned by humans. So that's just interesting facts that are there.
Yeah. And they love haggis. They love what do you call that white thing?
Made of potatoes.
Yes. Yes.
We continue with the theme.
Yep. So again, you can see how the three islands, as independent as they were, they will become united in one. Are we going to stop by a chocolate factory?
Yeah, that's one of the stops.
Yeah, in Scotland. We already talked about William Wallace. So at one point, we're going to leave Scotland and we're going to go to London, and this fly is included. We're going to see many of the architects that where we're going to see the Roman influence. But for the October trip, we have a branch visit where we're going to be visiting the new remodel branch of Jehovah's Witnesses. Unfortunately, the July trip will not be able to go because during that time they're going to have the special convention, and Bethel is not accepting a visit.
It was canceled.
It was canceled. Bethel is not accepting. We already submitted our request, but after the special convention, our request was canceled. So those of you traveling in the trip in July, what we're going to do is you're going to spend a day. We're making an arrangement to spend a day at the British Museum. For those of you traveling in October, we're going to visit the branch in the morning, and then in the afternoon, we're going to visit the British Museum. Question for you guys. Can you tell how many Jehovah's Witnesses are there in the UK? You can use the chat to provide your answer, or you can raise your hand and I can open your mic. Bianca, somebody is asking how many days are we in Scotland?
Total of 3 days.
3 days in Scotland, Jessica. Annie Johnson says 130,000. Correct, Annie. Well done. I don't know. Maybe you're looking at my notes. Anyway, our trip to London. Yes. Did anybody have a question? Okay. Our trip to London include stops based on time on the Westminster Abbey, Palace, Hyde Park, Oxford Street, the Tower of London, the River Thames, and the British Museum. And while we're there, we're going to eat fish and chips. No, whatever you want to eat. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Anyway, friends, I hope that by now, for the past 30 minutes, we have shown you how the Irish, even though they have their own culture and their own language, eventually they will take the English language as the main language. Cheryl.
Oh, I'm sorry. How many days is the entire trip, brother?
Maybe
It's 10.
10 days.
Thank you. Okay.
Beverly, you could call the office tomorrow to arrange that if that's something you might want to do.
Okay, thank you, because I was so disappointed when I found out y'all
Yeah.
Us too.
Yeah.
Us too.
But
We,
Yeah.
we already had a confirmed reservation, and I guess the special convention takes precedence, you know.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, of course, I'm sure.
But you know, when Mama says, this is the
Jump
way,
when we say how high.
we obey.
Yeah.
Of course, of course.
I saw a question from Tim and Martha Woods. Will the tour include tour of local scenery?
Yes, it would. Especially when we're in Scotland, it's just the greenery there, and many of the places we'll visit will have definitely stunning views. So that's basically part of it. That's the greenest part, actually, when we do that, we spend time there.
Yeah, one of the things that I like about this trip is that not only are we going to be talking about Bible history, but we're also going to be enjoying creation. Hey, Tiffany Carter, how many hotels will we stay in? I think it's
And this one is a total of 3 hotels.
3 hotels.
Yeah, 3 hotels.
Yeah. Yes, the answer to your second question, hold on a second. Host only, yeah. Hold on a second, let me answer Tiffany.
Yeah, so we're actually moving from one place to another to do the other one. So, and weather conditions in October, they're very favorable, still not so rainy, but I mean, that area is considered foggy most of the time, so not much different there, but the weather is nice. You know, it's like a fall weather. 60s, I would say, average temperature.
Terry is asking, do we fly out of New York? Actually, people can.
Yeah, people can travel from whatever. We don't restrain or make groups out of a specific airport because we truly get friends from all over the world. Like, for example, we have friends that are from England that will meet the group there and it's going to join us. We have friends from Australia who are also going to join. So we normally do not restrict out of one airport. However, when we see the list of friends, if we see that many are coming out of the same city, we do have them talk to each other to see if they want to travel together. That's something that we actually provide.
All right. So stay tuned, Terry Smith from Ohio. Lana Jones, will there be any arrangements for local service? I guess she's talking about preaching.
Yeah, in the itinerary we have, because we're taking several flights, it's gonna be tight to do that. However, we do have free time in between, so that will be something you might have to arrange locally with the friends. But local service, unless it's done in the evening or afternoon, it will be very difficult to do.
But we'll definitely be meeting some of the locals during our trip.
Correct. We're gonna be meeting local friends. Yes.
Jessica Varisco asks, will we take a JW tour of the British Museum? The answer is
The
yes.
answer is yes. It's a Bible tour conducted by JWs. The same thing with the area where we be in London as well.
Yeah. What is the money currency?
Is pound.
Pound, yes. Pound. And we can talk about where it will be the best place to do your money conversion. Tamara, how much walking do we do each day approximately?
In general, it's about straight 20-minute walk, but probably more. But we're gonna be doing other things like sitting down, enjoying something between meals. It's kind of a reset. So I will say about 20 minutes, which is about a mile per
Yeah.
day.
And what's good about these trips is that if you don't want to walk for whatever reason, you can stay in the bus as you wait for the rest of us to do the walking. Mackenberg from Springfield. Any recommendations on restaurant in Dublin or England? We have a list. I just don't have it ready.
Yes, we're gonna provide a list of those places where are highly recommended even for the locals over there. So we'll provide that.
Okay, Tiffany is also going to the UK
Yeah.
trip. Tiffany, we can call you and we can plan to do something together. Okay, so is this trip identical except yes, Beverly, the July trip and the October trip are exactly identical.
Except for
Actually,
that day of
but
Bethel.
the October is a little bit more expensive.
No, the itinerary.
The itinerary is the same, yeah. Okay, Mary, for those going in July, when will we know the name of the hotel and accommodation?
We will Pedro is having a meeting with all the ones that are on that trip. You can call and we can give you that information, but that will be sent to all of you. So we can do that because it's already locked and everything. So we'll send that to you in a couple of weeks from now.
Yeah, we organize something that is called meet and greet, in which we have a meeting 30 days before the trip. So I'm pretty sure Pedro will be sending that information, very sure.
But if you need it before, just send us an email and we'll provide you that.
Leonora, what needs to be done if we would like to arrive a day earlier?
So basically what you can do is just contact us, and if you want to do stay in the same hotel that we will be arriving, we can do that. We can help you get hotel nights on that hotel. And if you want to do any extracurricular activities, also let us know, because normally the tour guide gets there before the group, but we're there to actually help you with that as well. If it's something extra you would like to do there. Or just rest, just catch up with the jet lag.
Yeah.
Some friends do that.
We are arriving early.
Yeah, we arrive normally a day or two early.
Yeah. So Lenora, if you want to hang out, let us know. Sandra Davison, does the British Museum have subject tours similar to the Met? Yes.
Oh, yes. They have approximately like 10 subject tours because it's humongous. They're shorter. They're not as long as the Met, so they're about an hour. So you can literally do 3 if you're a museum enthusiast.
Yeah. Monique Brown, where do we find the cost for the trip? If you go to JW, oh, Monique, I'm sending you a message right now with the actual information
Yeah,
of
so
the trip.
if you go to jwtrips.com,
Yeah.
you'll see the prices there. This price there for double occupancy, that means you need to have 2 people in one room. That price is per person, and also a single occupancy, which is normally higher. discourage a lot. For some reason, the singles they tax them more than the doubles.
Yeah. Yeah. Diane Lucas, in the Republic of Ireland, the money is euros. Okay.
Yes, that is correct.
That is correct. And friends, what we have experienced is that the best way to deal with currency is to use your credit card. Unless you go to some small pop-in shop and you want to get something and you want to use cash, that's okay too. But for the most part, I'll be using my credit card. IP, isn't the money in Ireland, Europe? Yeah.
In Ireland.
In Ireland is Europe, but in London it's pounds. England. Annie Johnson, my daughter would like to be added to my trip in July, August. However, there was no availability. Are you aware of any new openings? Maybe if Beverly changes.
If somebody switched to the trip, we'll let you know, Annie. You could call us. You could call us tomorrow. I'll be there, and we could go over that and find out.
Yeah.
Okay, Bianca, I'll give you a call.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Mary Kwan, is the River Thames cruise and how many nights are included?
No, it's not a cruise. We're just doing a
It's like the circuit line in New York.
It's a day thing. It's not to be overnight. It's
My-
a sightseeing cruise.
Yeah, sightseeing. Bielka, Marisa Marzano is asking if we can help her at the end of the trip so that she can take a trip to the Louvre.
So you want to go to France after that, after London? I mean, there is a train that goes from London to Paris. So if you're interested in doing that, give us a call. We can help.
Yeah. Take the trip to the Louvre. Terry Smith, how many on the tour? I think it's 40.
This tour is the capacity is about 45. So 45 plus the tour guide. So that makes it like 47, 48.
Mhm. I don't know what airlines go to Scotland from Los Angeles to New York City, you know?
British Airways are the ones that I've seen the most from the West Coast. British Airways and in association with American. So they're the same War Alliance. So it can be a combination of those two. You might have to do a layover in the East Coast somewhere. Or Toronto. Yeah, that's what I've seen.
Billy McClothing, what are all the costs included on the October trip? So basically, it's a land package. Once you get there, everything else is included.
We include the internal flights, and also with this trip includes breakfast at the hotel, then lunch, and also dinner. So the 3 meals are included. Also the entrances to the attractions that we're going, whether it's in a museum or whether it's not the British Museum because they don't pay, but all the other entrances where it's required admission, that is here on the itinerary, we cover for that. And the transportation as well.
The land transportation. Good question, Billy. Good question.
And also local tour guides. We'll have local tour guides along the JW Trips tour guides giving you the tours.
Sister Jones has a very good question from Houston. Are there documents other than a passport needed for this trip? Can you talk about the UK e-visa?
Yeah, so right now the UK is starting in May. There's going to be a requirement for electronic visa. This is a super simple process. It costs £10, which I believe it comes to about $11 or close to $11. So this process is done online. It takes literally minutes. You scan your passport, they run it, and then they'll reply to you within 3 business days. So that's the cost of that visa to enter UK. Okay.
Hi guys, sorry to interrupt. I did it. It was easy, and it was $13.42 US.
After this trip, it's 13.
And then before I could even click out the email, they had already replied to me that I was approved.
Well, yeah, it's really quick.
It's
really,
very simple.
I say 3 days just in case.
Yeah, just to cover.
But they do tell you that even on the when you're applying, they tell you it could take up to 3 days. But
but it's really quick. Yeah.
It was quick.
Yeah.
Thank you, Beverly. Cheryl, you have your hand up.
I'm sorry, I was listening to all the other questions and answers. I forgot what I wanted to ask. It'll
Oh.
come back to me.
That.
But I got a lot of answers and all of that.
You'll remember, I'm sure.
Yes, it'll come back to me.
All right, all right. We'll be ready. We'll be ready. And next time, if you have a question, just open your mic and say hello, and we'll be taking your question.
Okay.
Okay. Mike Davison is asking, will the two of you stay a couple of days after the trip?
No, we don't. We have to leave
Yeah.
that day. So that's why we arrive before. So
Yeah.
whatever we do, we arrive before in preparation for the group.
Yeah. Terry Smith?
Hi, guys. I was with you in May, last May, in New York. My question was, I forgot. Hang on a second. Is there still room on the October trip?
Yeah,
Yes.
there is still room on the October.
The one that's sold out is the July, August.
Okay, wonderful. Okay,
There's room in the October one. July is sold out.
okay, thank you.
Not a problem. And that was the same question that, let me see who asked. Pat Robinson asked that question.
No, July, August is closed. Yeah.
Okay, Maria Viray is
Oh, yeah,
saying
the train.
there's a train,
Eurostar.
Eurostar
Yeah.
from London to Paris. We've taken that.
Yeah.
Tamara, what part of Paris is it, France? Friends, this question came because somebody wants to
mentioned the Louvre.
the
No,
Louvre.
there's nothing in France that we're doing. It's just because somebody asked about that museum, and the Louvre is actually in Paris, not in UK.
Yeah. How about tipping?
Tipping is not customary in Europe. However, if you have an excellent service, you could actually do that because it's not customary. They don't expect it. So it'll have to be an outstanding service that you provide, but we don't know exactly what will be a reasonable, but we can ask the local friends there and post that question, to post that answer to you guys.
Thank you, Regina. Donita iPad. Donita iPad. Okay. While she gets back to us, Bielka, somebody is saying, are there any UK trip for 2026?
No, we're gonna skip a year. So for 2026, we're not planning to go back.
Yeah, we're going to Italy on 2026. If you guys, and that was Jessica McGinnis who asked that question.
Hey, Jessica.
Hey, Pat Robinson, another question. What is the cost of travel insurance?
Well, Pat, it will depend on the country you live in. I think, Pat, you said you live in Canada, if I'm not mistaken. Or probably
I'm in the US.
Oh, you're in the US. Okay. So depends on the state that you live and your age. So it can range for this type of trip from $250 to $350 or even less if you're so it all depends on the risk and the state that you live in. So you can call tomorrow. I can give you a quote based on your personal information and tell you pretty much what it will cost to cover this trip.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Diane Lucas, this is a very good question. If we booked a single trip and a friend decides to come later, can I switch to a double booking?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes, you can switch to double and we'll adjust the price for that.
Mhm. Lavora Taylor is asking, how much more is the trip in October?
I don't know if you're already in the July one, but the October one is $4,850 for double occupancy per person, 4,850, and the single occupancy is 6,500. So
Okay. Where do you plan to go to Italy? We're going to be sharing that itinerary, I think, in the next couple of weeks.
I think it's May.
May. But it says where? Like where? What stop?
To go in Italy. We'll let you know because the itinerary is on the works.
Jamilette Watson is saying, I would like to go in October, but couldn't find anyone to join me. How much more would I have to pay for single occupancy?
Yeah, it's 6,500. So we're talking about almost 1,200 more.
But Jamilet, you may find a roommate here. Um,
That's what I
um,
was hoping for.
yeah.
But now that I know, if you send us an email, Damilet, I can find out if somebody else is interested also in a roommate,
Okay.
and we can
Okay.
have talk to each other.
Excellent.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Sure, you're welcome.
Jamilet Watson.
Mhm.
Write it
Where's she
down.
located?
There you
Atlanta,
go.
Atlanta,
Where?
Georgia. Atlanta, Georgia.
Ah, I'm coming from California.
Oh,
It
okay.
doesn't matter, right? It's just for, it was.
It doesn't matter.
No.
As long as
Once
you
we get
find
there.
you meet there. That's when
Right.
partnership starts. Yeah. So just send us, if you're interested, just send us an email and we'll try to pair you. Isn't
Okay.
a guarantee, but we'll try our best.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Not a problem. Donita, iPad.
Thank you. I was able to unmute. Thank you very much. Two questions. One, how much time do they give you to get a visa? Is it just 3 days, or
The
you can't be
visa?
late, or you can't get in, right? If you don't have one?
No, if you don't have one, it's a requirement to get in. But to
Mhm.
apply for it, it just takes a few minutes, literally. And it's online. You get it online within
Mhm.
minutes, the answer, or up to 3 business days.
And how long does it last?
And it lasts 2 years.
There you go.
Okay.
through-
Now, is there any bans as far as any restrictions or anything for certain laws there that you can and cannot do in that country?
Now that we are aware of that, remember, this
Mhm.
is a dual power, so they're very
Uh-huh.
in
Yeah.
culture.
And have you ever thought about considering any cruises to those places like Scotland, Ireland? Because I know Royal used to do that.
Yeah.
Royal
Yeah,
Caribbean.
we were looking into some of those, but they're so pricey.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
that's like, okay, is it worth it? So,
Yeah.
especially with them, if you notice, we're taking 2 flights, so we're trying to cover as much as we can. That's why we're not doing all that with buses for so long, because we want to get the most out of the time that you're there.
I see. Okay. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it. Mhm.
Maritza Marzano is saying, I would be willing to find someone to join a double.
Okay, Marissa. So I'll if you send me your info, you send an email to mail@jwtrips.com. Mail@jwtrips.com. And then I'll definitely
Or call the office.
have you talk to each other.
Yeah. Carlos the Bark de Laban. I'm interested in getting a roommate as well. Carlos in
He's in
Atlanta.
Atlanta. Okay, Carlos.
Yes, sir. What did you say, brother?
I was just reading your chat.
Your message about the roommate.
Oh, I wrote something.
Yeah, I see it here. I am interested in getting a roommate as well. That's what you wrote.
Carlos Codburn.
No.
No.
it's
Oh, okay. Oh, I was in a panic. I was like,
No. This
oh
is
my
another
goodness.
Carlos.
No, I'm Carlos DeBar-DeLaban. Carlos DeBar-DeLaban is the one who wants to get a roommate.
Okay.
I don't know that they are Babylonian. Terry, are you familiar? Are you
Related?
related? Terry. Yeah.
No.
Okay, Carlos, so
No.
I'll send some information too if you can call and you're in Atlanta too, you said, right, Carlos?
Yes, I am. Yes.
All right. I just wrote it down.
Okay. The next one is Maria. She says England drives on the left side of the road. British Museum is so worth the trip. Moabite stone in a Syrian display. Oh yeah. We have so many
We
things.
don't have time to go over that, but you know, the Rosetta Stone, the Assyrian display, the Moabite stone, the Cyrus cylinder. There's many gems there that are mentioned, you know, Bible accounts. So we do have that information we're going to share with the friends so that they can get the most out of that visit at the museum.
Lana Jones, the answer to your question is no. The A50 is just the deposit to secure your spot on the trip. You can buy your airfare whenever you're ready.
And the A50 is part of the total.
Yeah. And what airport are we flying into? Is the one
DUB, which is the Dublin International Airport in Ireland.
D as in Delta, U as in unicorn, B as in boy. When is
And
it?
then, but we fly out of London, the Heathrow.
Yeah. Natty James, that sounds familiar. When is a good time to buy flights for the October trip?
International flights are recommended to be within a 6 months frame. So within the 6 months, it's good that you start checking to see what they look like. And what I tell the friends is always when you're looking for flights, check during the week, midweek. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, that's when the price normally drops. If you check on weekends, they tend to be higher. For some reason, I guess that's where they push the sales. So that will give you a general idea of what the average price is. And then you check the following week and you can see if it is trending down in price or up. And that tells you if there's an urgency for you to buy or lock a good price.
All right. Billy McLovin.
Yes, on the flights, we're flying into Dublin, but we'll be flying out of London on the return trip. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah.
So that's what we need to do when we make our flight arrangements, to make sure we're flying out of a different city coming back.
Exactly.
Yes. All right. Thank you.
So that will be what is called a multi-city itinerary. You fly into one, you come out of another. We are also a travel agency, so we can also help you if you guys need help with that.
All right. Mary Morthorst. If traveling with someone, can you get your own insurance separately?
Yes, it is recommended each person should have their own policy. Why? Because it's specific to you or your needs and everything. So if something happens, even if you're traveling with a somebody who's not your family, if that person gets sick, you're also covered. And the good thing about travel insurance, friends, that I want you to understand is that the minute you purchase that travel insurance, you're already covered, even way before the trip. So if you cancel because you got sick, a family member gets sick, for known reasons, for reasons that are covered, you are already covered. So this is not something that just kicks in when you start traveling. This is something that kicks in the minute you purchase it.
All right. Leonora Triana.
Quick question. You mentioned earlier that you guys are also a travel agency. We went with your company to New York in June, this past June, and we were delighted. So we received an email recommending a good time and rate. That was pretty neat because I had bought the same that was being recommended. So will you guys be sending out those reminders or notices for us to be aware of what would be a good buy?
Yes, definitely. That's part of why I think that one of the things that we like to do is we like to educate, our friends. And as the trip gets there, any information we get that we know is going to be useful to you guys, we're always going to pass it to you. So that's part of what we do for this trip as well, the same thing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed your Bethel trip. That's awesome.
I am addicted now. Y'all are going to take me to the poorhouse, but I will die happy.
That's awesome. That's a happy place. Bethel is always a happy place too.
Becca, take a look at this question from Jessica. When I apply for the UK visa, it scanned my passport and they approved my passport to include the visa. This is correct, right? That you can use your passport and don't have any extra paperwork.
That is correct. So the minute you're scanning, you're approved, your passport already has your visa. That's why there's a chip on the passport. They use that to recognize your passport information. So it's not like a paper you carry besides your passport. That is very correct.
Okay, before Cheryl forgets, Cheryl, your time to shine. What's your question?
Yeah. Now, once we get in New York, we're going from New York to London. Is that correct or wrong?
We're going from wherever you are to Dublin.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah,
so
we're gonna meet at Dublin.
We're gonna meet at Dublin in Ireland.
Are you guys, who, is anyone going to travel from New York to Dublin?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do have friends that are going from the New York area, which we can have you talk to each other and we can have you have the same flight so that you guys can travel together.
I would appreciate it because two heads are better than one. Mine is kind
Of
of slow.
course, of course, of course. Yes, that makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
So give me a call so that way we can talk and I could put you in contact with those friends.
Okay.
Question from Tamara. At what time and date should we be leaving London for home?
Basically what we tell the friends is take a look at whichever flight works for you because we're traveling back on time. There's a lot of flights that are scheduled for the morning, like 10 a.m. all the way to 2 p.m. and you arrive early here to the States. So there will be airport transfers that are included. And the way we do it is batches of friends that go to those flights. So don't worry about the time that you find. If it works for you, we arrange the airport shuttle to work out for you.
Is that okay, Cheryl?
Yes.
It's
No, by mistake.
it's Beverly again.
Hey,
Does
Beverly.
does that mean for the July one too? Like
Yes.
whatever flights that work out for us, you guys will arrange for us to get to the airport?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Lana Jones, what is the earliest we can secure our spot for the A50? You can do it today if you want to.
Yeah, it's basically it's open for booking. There's a lot of interested ones. You know, you can first come, first serve. So, but yes, as early as today if you make that decision. But I always tell the friends, pray about it, you know.
IP, it is not a visa for the UK. It is an electronic travel authorization.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right. Will the recording of this presentation be available only on YouTube or elsewhere? We put it on YouTube because it's open to everyone. If you guys don't want to use YouTube, I can send you the Zoom.
We also send the recording to everybody so that you can see it.
But the recording will be somewhere, Vilka. That's what they're asking. Would it be only on YouTube? Maybe she doesn't want to use YouTube, but we can give you a link to our Zoom and you can watch it there too. I was thinking YouTube is going to be easier for everyone. All righty. Any more questions? Well, I think we had come to an end. I just wanted to show you what Wycliffe have done. He was tried for heresy 3 times. The church dig up for his bone to burn them and to scatter them in the river. They thought that if they did this, they will ruin his chances of resurrection on the day of judgment. How stupid. Like something can stop Jehovah. Nothing can stop.
But you know, we that's when we appreciate the work that this martyr did to save the Bible and what he did for the Bible. So it's good to learn about him. We're gonna be touching a lot on his work and what he did and his valor.
Yeah. So the first English language version of the Bible is credited to John Wycliffe, who translated it from the Latin Vulgate, and it was the work of William Tyndale, who translated the Greek scriptures and part of the Hebrew scripture from 1525 to 1535. All of this culminated in what today we call the King James Version. And if you think about it, you look at how the Gutenberg printery really speed up the work and the distribution of the Bible all around the world. So friends, we hope you can join us. We hope we can talk about all these people who sacrifice their life, how they influence on the ability for people to have the Bible um, for the common man, and how that made it all the way to what we call one of the most distributed Bible of all time, which is the King James Version. Jehovah's Witnesses used that Bible for a short period of time, and that's what we put this trip together so that you can enjoy the struggle of what the Bible has gone through so that we can have it today and we can read it daily. There's other stats we will be sharing with you once you come on the trip. And we hope this little tour was useful and that you guys will tell others about JW Trips, about this trip, and about the fun that we're going to have. Okay.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you guys so much. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you for
Thank
having us.
you.
Really nice.
I
Really,
know.
really nice.
Yes.
Keep it up.